I don't hear. Oh, now I hear myself. Test, 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 test. Good. Okay. Hey, go for it. We could start. Good afternoon and welcome live to the Fort Lee YouTube channel. Here from the Allen W. Sugarman Athletics Complex in Fort Lee, it's time for Fort Lee baseball today. As the Bridgemen at 9-6 on the season look to get to 10 wins for the first time since 2015, they play host to the Cliffside Park Red Raiders at 4-10-1 overall. Ralph Bednarczyk on hand, and the first pitch swinging is a ground ball down the left field line, a base hit, extra bases for Caden Moeller perhaps. It's quickly played back in on the first pitch that is thrown. Moeller is aboard to start things off for the Red Raiders. On the first pitch he sees from Gabe Garcia, and we're quickly underway. Garcia, a junior, who's been the number one pitcher this season for what is still a very young Fort Lee staff. Numbers on Garcia as Freddie Fland will step in. We'll go through the batting order in a moment for Cliffside Park. From the Big North American Division, as a toss over to check on Caden Moeller is not in time. For Garcia, he's thrown 25 2/3 innings this year, 29 hits, 7 unearned runs have been scored against him. As squaring to bunt and getting it down is Fland. On the pickup, Garcia has only one play, throws in time to get the out. 1-3 on the sacrifice for Fland, and there's one away with senior first baseman Marco Rinaldi coming up. So Rinaldi hits third. Nick Ortiz will do the pitching today for the Red Raiders. He bats cleanup. Derek Sanchez is at second base, and the sophomore hits number 5. Abraham Tabar is in center field, a junior hitting number 6. Victor Freitas is in right field hitting 7th. And a nice changeup thrown, swing and a miss by Rinaldi, 0-1. John Ruftopoulos is at third base batting 8th. Marcus Garcia is the DH batting number 9. Brady Marine will do the catching but not hit for Cliffside Park. Runner from second with one down. And this ball is lined down the right field line. That's a fair ball heading into the corner for Rinaldi. Turning third and coming in to score easily is Moeller. The throw will go to second base, not in time, and 3 batters in. Cliffside Park has a 1-0 lead at Fort Lee. An RBI double for Rinaldi, who is set to have a lot of power when he's able to make contact for second-year coach Mike Scarzafava, a Cliffside Park graduate out of the class of 2011. As Nick Ortiz will bat with one down. And Garcia to the plate starts him off with a strike. It's a Red Raiders team that truly invested last year. They finished 5-18-1, playing primarily sophomores. About 8 sophomores who were freshmen at the time were essentially starters and everyday players. As it's 0-2. Nick Ortiz is one of them. Last year's starting first baseman, and when not at first base, he was pitching. 1-0 Cliffside Park, and a step-off, no throw by Garcia. 67 degrees, a very light wind, otherwise comfortable conditions, and you can see that the sun is out from the beginning today. And the 0-2 ripped up the middle, base hit for Ortiz. Getting the wave is Rinaldi. Now he's held up as the throw comes in. And they will hold Rinaldi at third base, first and third with one down on a sharp single up the middle by Nick Ortiz. Defensively, behind Garcia for the Bridgemen. Jake Lee is in left. CJ Senator is in center. Jacob Greenberg in right. Jack Dorcom is at third. Marcus Lee at short. Stephen Kim is at short. Nico Sango at first. And Luke Senator does the catching. Now Derek Sanchez steps in. And this one gets away from Senator. No runner able to advance. So in a clear first and third, steal second situation, one down, Fort Lee hoping to turn two. And Sanchez fouls it off, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sanchez in at 317. As a team, Cliffside Park hitting 234. Their pitching has kept them in games. As this ball looped in the air to center field, well hit, going back CJ Senator, he makes the catch. Tagging and coming in to score is Marco Rinaldi. Derek Sanchez with a sacrifice fly and an RBI. He's plated another, and now it's 2-0 Cliffside Park in the first. So aside from the sacrifice bunt by Fland, the 4 other balls have been well hit by the Red Raiders. Here's center fielder Abraham Tabar. First pitch swing, grounds at the short. Could be 2. Lead will go to second, rather. That's all they needed on the 6-4 force out, and the inning comes to an end. 2 runs on 4 hits for Cliffside Park, and they leave one as we go to the home first with Fort Lee coming up. And back for the home first inning, Ralph Bednarczyk with you here on the Fort Lee YouTube channel. Big North American Division baseball action, 2-0 Cliffside Park as we go to the home first inning. Let's have a look today at the lineup today for head coach Pete Kraljic of Fort Lee. Leading off be the DH Max Greenberg, batting second, and at shortstop Marcos Lee. Luke Senator does the catching. Luke hitting number 3. Jacob Greenberg is in right field. Jacob hitting cleanup. Nico Sango is at first base, hitting number 5. Jack Dorcom, sophomore, is at third base, hitting number 6. Gabe Garcia on the mound at bats number 7. CJ Senator in center field, hitting 8th. And Stephen Kim is at second base, batting number 9. And in the lineup, Jake Lee will be DH'd for. He is in left field only as the flex. And making the start today for Cliffside Park is sophomore right-hander Nick Ortiz. Ortiz has thrown the second most innings on the staff, ERA of 2.41, 21 strikeouts over 20 and a third, but he has walked 19 batters over that time and hit 3 others. He has only allowed 13 hits and 7 earned runs. So Ortiz shows a very strong and quality arm, and he is able to get into a groove at times. A sophomore that throws a fastball, curveball, and a changeup. And if his control is solid, he gives Cliffside Park a chance. Max Greenberg to lead it off. And Ortiz starts him off with the strike. Of course, tomorrow is May 1st. That is the final cutoff in order to qualify based on the power points into the Bergen County tournament. So both teams are in action after having games washed out or moved. Called strike 0-2. And this is a significant day, perhaps the next 48 hours of great significance for this Fort Lee baseball program because of what they could potentially do, or at least how they control their own destiny. 0-2 misses in. After today's game, Fort Lee will play one more game that was rescheduled to play tomorrow, where they will travel to Westwood tomorrow out of the Big North Patriot Division, which could be the best division, or at least a top 2 division, and I think the 6th division Big North. This ball crushed in the air, the 1-2 by Max Greenberg, going back, and that'll drop in for a base hit in front of Freddie Fland. Throw will go into second base, it's cut off, and it's a little bit of a deep drive double for Max Greenberg to get Fort Lee started. Well, that ball appeared to be catchable for Freddie Fland in left, and Fland may not have gotten a good look at it as it dunks in, and here is Lee in a potential bunting situation for the Bridgemen. Marcus, right-hand batting junior shortstop, 1 for 4, had an RBI triple a couple days ago against Wallington, as Ortiz misses low. So, should Fort Lee get this game, it would get them to 10 wins. And then if they were to go to Westwood tomorrow and win that one, and Ortiz, I think he got the called strike there. I'll make that 2-0. That would, at least in the eyes of the coaching staff, that could put them on the bubble. 2 balls and a strike, and for Pete Kraljic, in his 8th season, he is trying to do something that has never been done at Fort Lee before, and that is qualify for the Bergen County Tournament. In a very deep baseball county, Fort Lee is the lone high school that has never played in it. They've had a couple of seasons where they've perhaps been just on the outside looking in. Runner from second, Max Greenberg. And the 3-1 misses inside. That's ball 4. Marcos Lee. So I think the 1-0 might have been ball 2. Could not tell from this vantage point. So the first 2 have reached now. And Luke Senator will bat. And Westwood is a major offensive team. But in order to get to that game, Fort Lee must win this game. Senator grounds one through the left side. That's a base hit. Fielded by Fland. Getting the wave is Max Greenberg. The throw will come in well offline. It's an RBI single to left for Luke Senator. And 3 batters into the first. Fort Lee has already responded. It's now a 2-1 Cliffside Park lead. Senator got a first pitch fastball that he was able to pull. And it's first and second, nobody out for Jacob Greenberg. Time is called as Brady Marine is out to talk to Nick Ortiz. Marine, just a sophomore himself. There is very little senior experience or overall experience on this Cliffside Park team. As this pitch high to the backstop, but it does not hit Jacob Greenberg, and no advance. And talking to second-year coach Mike Scarzafava, he knew that, again, all the freshmen last year, the 8 of them that played a lot, they are leading this team again, figured that they would improve, and they have. They're on the verge of matching last year's win total. Pitch outside, goes to the backstop, and both runners will advance. So that time it'll be a clear, wild pitch against Ortiz. And Marcos lead a third, Luke Senator to second. And a 2-0 coming now to Jacob Greenberg. Check that, rather, a 1-1 count. Two years ago when Cliffside Park had a veteran team, under then second-year coach Steve Jano, who's now switched and is an assistant coach under Mike Scarzafava. They finished 11-14, 4-4 in the Big North, and they lost in the North 2 Group 3 first round. Also made the Bergen County Tournament first round. 2021 also made the state and Bergen County tournaments. 1-2 to Jacob Greenberg. Cliffside Park has consistently found their way several times every decade in making the Bergen County tournament. They've made 32 tournament appearances, with the first being in 1965. 3-2 to Jacob Greenberg. Runners lead from second and third for Fort Lee, looking to tie and or take the lead in the home first. And the payoff pitch to Jacob Greenberg. And that's low, ball 4. So Jacob Greenberg would not chase, and the bases will be loaded here for Nico Sango. Sango, the sophomore, against Wallington on Saturday, went 3 for 3, driving in 5, and he was a home run shy of the cycle. And Sango takes a breaking ball by the changeup. Think nice pitch thrown by Ortiz. Sango in his return to the Fort Lee School District after being at Bergen Catholic last year on the freshman team. Got off to a scorching start early season. As that misses, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sango hitting .267 on the year. And he's driven in 14 runs, only behind Jacob Greenberg. Bases loaded, still nobody out for Fort Lee. And now the changeup swung on and missed. So Nick Ortiz gets in front on Nico Sango. Nico's typically been the cleanup batter, today batting number 5. Still nobody out in the home first, 2-1 Cliffside Park. And on a 1-2, Nico would not chase. Nico is among a handful of Fort Lee players that has some travel baseball experience or consistently plays it. Ortiz with a long set. And it's 2-2 to Nico Sango. And that's a good take from Nico, ball 3. Fort Lee's already surpassed last year's win total, trying to get to double-digit wins today. An important moment here in the home first. And a 3-2 high fastball, and Sango fouls it back. They've matched their win total from 2 years ago, 9-15-1 that year, 9-6 this year. And they have a chance with a lighter schedule to also come up with a winning record period in the regular season. Again, the 3-2 to Sango. And he just got a piece of it, fouling it straight back. Two walks in the inning already by Nick Ortiz. And a swing and a miss and a fastball. Sango perhaps expecting something different, and Ortiz put it right down the middle where he could not catch up to it. One away. So there's the first out of the inning. And it'll bring up Jack Dorcom. And the sophomore enters .325 in the year. Has driven in 14 runs. Tied for second on the team with Sango. Dorcom could be an option to pitch later in this game. As Ortiz misses away with a good miss. Two and 0. Fort Lee exploded on Saturday against Wallington, putting up a season-high 15 runs. 15-5 the final against Wallington. 2-0 line drive over short. That's a base hit to left field. One run will score. They'll give the wave. Now to Luke Senator. He will score without a throw. It's a 2-run single to left for Jack Dorcom. And Fort Lee has responded. They've picked up a pair of runs. They lead it 3-2 in the first. A 2-run single for Jack Dorcom. And on 2-0, he was sitting fastball and saw it very well. Jacob Greenberg stopping at second. First and second, one down for Gabe Garcia. And now a toss over to cover on second, Jacob Greenberg, with Caden Moeller on the cover. As that's ball one. Gabe Garcia at the plate, 192. He's driven in 6 runs. Last year, Gabe, 3 for 12 at .250. 1 RBI as a sophomore. Now his third year in the varsity, swings and misses. I think he got a changeup strike. Fort Lee has taken the lead here in the first, 3-2 over Cliffside Park. And Ortiz is there spotting the fastball. He gets ahead 1-2. And a swing and a miss. Think at the curveball. And Garcia down on strikes. So a pair of strikeouts for Nick Ortiz, and he has a chance to truly limit what could have been a gigantic inning against him by getting the number 8 batter, C.J. Senator. C.J. or Christian Senator, freshman younger brother of Luke, comes in at .318. 7 for 22 in the season as Gabe Garcia steps off. And he and Luke both travel baseball players at this point. And swings, and he'll get some help from the backstop there. That might have been the third out on a pop-up. Nick Ortiz trying to close the door here. After the first 4 batters for Fort Lee all reached. And on 0-1, he picks up a strike, a high strike, so 0-2 to Christian Senator. Cliffside Park, they've prided themselves on being in basically every game this year. 0-2 pitch, fastball that Christian Senator could not catch up to. So Nick Ortiz picks up back-to-back strikeouts to get out of further damage, but Fort Lee comes right back in the first and picks up the lead. They pick up 3 runs on 3 hits, and they leave 2. We head to the second inning on a sunny day in Fort Lee, 3-2 Bridgman on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Fort Lee starter Gabe Garcia has been given new life. He's got the lead 3-2 as we start the second. And he'll face 7, 8, 9 and Victor Freitas as he takes strike 1. Freitas, yet another sophomore in his second year of the varsity. As Garcia, I think, misses there, 1-1. Victor, the second half of last year, took over as a freshman, was given the chance to be the DH, seized it, and never looked back. This is a slow roller charging at third base, but there is no throw for Jack Dorcom. Infield single for Victor Freitas, and that gets Cliffside Park started in the second. Was going to be an instant difficult play for anybody other than Gabe Garcia, but the problem was the ball was pulled too much towards the 5-6 hole, and on turf, Marcus Lee is typically going to play a little bit more back anyway. And Freitas, who runs well, beats it out. First pitch, John Raftopoulos squares to bunt, gets it down, slipping is Garcia, and everybody is safe. So that'll be a fielder's choice sack bunt back to the pitcher. First and second instantly for Cliffside Park for the number 9 batter, and DH Marcus Garcia. Garcia, who's playing with an injury, with an arm injury, so he can only DH. As he squares the bunt as well and takes a strike. Garciga's thrown 6 2/3 innings as one of just 2 seniors along with Marco Rinaldi on this super young Cliffside Park team. Squares the bunt again. And there was no contact. There goes the runner. The throw down to third, not in time. It gets away from the third baseman Dorcom on the errant throw by Luke Senator. And both runners will advance. Well, it looked like the players thought Garcia may have made contact with the ball. Senator realized no foul ball. So that'll end up as a wild pitch that allows both runners to advance. Garcia did offer and took a strike, and now that's 0-2 a fastball high. So the Red Raiders set up for another big inning again. Second and third, nobody out. And Garcia looks at a fastball away. Garcia at the plate is 2 for 14. He has driven in 1 run. And he's tied up, swings and misses, strike 3. Tied up there with a changeup, first strikeout for Gabriel Garcia, and 1 out in the second. Or check that rather. And there is strike 3 looking, beg your pardon. So here's Caden Moeller in the top of the order. Moeller in his second year as a starting shortstop. From day one last year as a freshman. As he grounds this ball to third. Going home is Dorcom. Tough throw. Not in time, and everybody is safe. Well, Dorcom had a chance to nail the runner, and that'll be a fielder's choice throwing error on Jack Dorcom. And it'll be runners at the corners, but Cliffside Park has brought in a run. They've tied the game at 3. So the E5 throwing error, it was not a force, it was a tag play. And over to third base went Raftopoulos, and at first is Caden Moeller, and now Freddie Fland. As a toss over, as Fland does not give anything away in terms of a bunt. It's a great squeeze situation for Cliffside Park. And Fland, not bunting, takes a strike. Raftopoulos is the runner on at third. And Moeller on at first. Moeller has great speed as they check on him again. Moeller has 14 stolen bases. Only Freddie Fland, who's batting right now, has more with 15. And that has been among the strengths of his Cliffside Park team. Those two stealing tons of bases. While Fort Lee, they have stolen more bases, though, collectively. Pitched inside a ball, a throw down. There goes Moeller. The throw goes into center field, and trotting in to score will be Raftopoulos. So it's a delayed steal. Stolen base of second for Caden Moeller, and then trotting in to score the run via the throwing error by Luke Senator will be Raftopoulos, and just like that, it's 4-3 Cliffside Park. And now Fland a chance to add to it. And Fland will ground that foul wide of first. Fland is in left field, but he's also the backup catcher, plays third base and shortstop. Last year, the day one starter in left field. Swing and a ball that could not be completed by Senator, but he applies the tag, and Fland down on strikes. So now there's 2 outs in the inning, and the number 3 batter is Marco Rinaldi. Rinaldi with lefty power showed it in the first inning by doubling down the right field line to drive in a run. As he chases, looks like a changeup blowing away, 0-1. Rinaldi in his 4th year on the varsity, part of a league championship team as a freshman in 2021 that went 8-0 in the Big North American. That's outside 1-1. And Rinaldi has lefty power. He is set at the moment to go to Bergen Community College and hasn't made his mind up whether or not he will play. And this ball crushed in the air, deep right field, going back, and that's off against the wall. Jacob Greenberg plays it in, and he will hold Rinaldi to a single, but it'll drive in another run as trotting in to score is Caden Moeller from second base. Another deep drive by Marco Rinaldi, and it's 5-3 Cliffside Park. And with that kind of power from the left side, Bergen Community College would be thrilled to add that. Now Nick Ortiz. as he takes a strike. Rinaldi has already driven in 2 runs. He's up to a team-leading 19 on the season. As this ball skips away from Luke Senator, and there'll be no throw. Wild pitch. And Marco Rinaldi will take second. Ball was hit so well that in most high school fields, it's probably a home run. And it looked like that was a strike call from the umpire, 1-2. And for Rinaldi, that would have been his 3rd homer of the season. And a fastball called strike 3. And Ortiz is gone. So Gabriel Garcia strikes out the side, but not before more damage is done by Cliffside Park. They score 3 times on just 2 hits, and they leave 1. We head to the home 2nd inning. Fort Lee trails again. It's now 5-3 Red Raiders. Nine, 1-2 here for Fort Lee, as it's a 5-3 Cliffside Park lead. Ralph Benarchik with you here from Fort Lee and the Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex. Stephen Kim fouls the first pitch he sees from Nick Ortiz. Kim, just a freshman, but a day 1 starter all over for Coach Pete Kraljic. As he reaches for it, grounds it to the left side, handled by the third baseman Ruftopoulos. He throws, and he gets Stephen Kim. Hit it well, but Ruftopoulos is able to range over to his left. And there is the first leadoff batter so far of any inning retired. And top of the order now for Max Greenberg. Max got Fort Lee started with a kind of a dunked-in bloop double down the left field line in the first. Max at 256 coming in as he takes a called strike. One and one. Mentioning Westwood earlier, as that is who Fort Lee plays tomorrow. Westwood playing remarkably well. I'm going to have to check if they are ranked in the top 20 by NJ.com. And if they aren't, they probably should be. Changeup swung on and missed, 1-2. But Fort Lee will be on the road at Westwood out of the Big North Patriot Division, where Westwood, the Cardinals, are 13-2. 5-2 in the division. This ball fouled off on the fastball. Westwood at 13-2. Their lone loss is 10-9 at Pascack Hills by a run. And then on, yesterday, they got the game in before lightning and rain. 1-0 lost to Indian Hills. Otherwise, their wins have all been quality, too. And what is, as I said, a kind of a top 2 division in the Big North. The Big North Patriot. That 1-2 is away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Westwood started off the season 7-0. A one-run slugfest over Bergen Catholic. They swept Mahwah. They beat this Cliffside Park team 16-8. Riverdale, who's had some Division III talent in the past, swept them early season and split against Pascack Hills. This one grounded to short. Caden Moeller gathers and he throws out Max Greenberg. And a pair of groundouts here in the second inning for Nick Ortiz. 2 gone for Marcus Lee. So Westwood is lined up to be a very high seed in the upcoming Bergen County tournament. Tomorrow they will play at Indian Hills to try to avenge yesterday's 1-0 loss. Lee walked in the first inning and eventually came around to score. As he takes a called strike. Westwood right now in the North 1 Group 2 Power Points. They sit 4th, and they get Indian Hills against tomorrow, who is number 1. And they already have a split against Pascack Hills, who's number 5. So Westwood in great shape to make a deep run in the Bergen County tournament. 2-1 here to Marcus Lee. And then to try to get through Section 1 Group 2, it will see some of, probably at least one, if not 2, division rivals deep in the state tournament who are going to get high seeds on the other side of the bracket. 3-1 to Marcus Lee. 2 outs, nobody on. 5-3 Cliffside Park with Fort Lee batting in the home second. And there's a called strike. Lee thought that might have been wide. Westwood right now in second place, only to Indian Hills in the Big North Patriot division. So it's, when you look at the depth of the Patriot, it's that or the United division, which is all the private schools, all the non-publics that you would say would be the toss-up. And the 3-2 fouled off. If there was such a thing as, quote, high school power conferences or power divisions, you would call the Big North United one, because that has Bosco, Bergen Catholic, St. Joe's, Montville, DePaul Catholic, Paramus Catholic. And at least the first 3 consistently produce Division I players and college-bound players up and down the lineup. 3-2 again, high ball 4, and Marcus Lee has his second walk of the day. Third walk by Nick Ortiz, and a 2-out base runner for Luke Senator. So you can classify the Big North Patriot as perhaps the best public school division in Bergen County, because it's Westwood, Pascack Hills, Indian Hills, Ramsey as super quality teams. And then you have Mahwah, who had the Hunt boys under Coach Mickey Hunt there. They're just 8-7 right now. And then there's Riverdale, who definitely has had some quality football, baseball players too. Luke Senator takes outside. So that is the depth of the Big North Patriot division. And those two you could call Big North Power Conference divisions. Tossing a check on Marcus Lee. Lee has stolen 4 bases. We have not seen Brady Marine have to throw yet, the catcher for Cliffside Park. There goes Lee, the throw down by Marine, and it skips in. It's backed up by the shortstop Moeller. Stolen base for Marcus Lee with 2 down. His 5th stolen base of the season, and that'll give Luke Senator a chance here in the 2nd. And Ortiz able to throw kind of a slow changeup, gets it in there to Senator. He gets ahead 1-2. Bridgman trying to get closer here in the 2nd. And the 1-2 called, strike 3. So Luke Senator down looking. 4th strikeout for Nick Ortiz. He works around the 2-out walk and stolen base by Marcus Lee. 2 innings completed for Lee. It remains 5-3 Cliffside Park. Top of the 3rd inning. 5-3 Cliffside Park. Gabriel Garcia will face Derek Sanchez, the number 5 batter and 2nd baseman for the Red Raiders, to open things up. Sanchez at .317. Also 4 stolen bases. Part of the Cliffside Park stolen base parade this year. They have 52 stolen bases on the season. And a swing and a miss there. Low changeup. Good pitch thrown by Garcia. 0-1. In 15 games, 52 stolen bases coming in. As that's taken low, and talking to Mike Scarzafava about this team, and they have had moments where it's really about the clutch hitting this year for his young guys that could make the difference. Called strike 3. Derek Sanchez caught looking. And the first out recorded to open up the 3rd. Fourth strikeout for Garcia. He'll face Abraham Tabar. Bounced down into a 6-4 force first time up. And a good curveball thrown by Gabriel. 0-1. And Cliffside Park has been in all of their games, despite 10 losses. You wouldn't think that a coach would say that, but that has been really the case. Even their one blowout loss, called strike 1 and 2 to Tabar. Long blowout loss at the hands of Westwood on April 5th, 16-8. That game was 8-8 through 6 innings. Ground ball hit the 2nd, right at Stephen Kim, as he lobs it over to get Tabar 2 gone in the third. So they allowed an 8-run top of the 7th inning to lose 16-8. But Mike Scarzafava took a lot from that how well his team was able to hit quality pitching from Westwood. Victor Freitas takes a called strike. Then against Dumont, last Tuesday, the 23rd, on the road, they won the game 8-5 in extra innings, scoring 4 runs in the top of the 8th inning, with Freddie Fland coming through with a big hit, a bases clearing double with 2 down. That's a called strike 2 to Freitas. And then Freitas on Saturday also had the big hit against Ridgefield Park. 2-2. That came on Saturday in a 6-4 win over Ridgefield. Not Ridgefield Park, just Ridgefield, beg your pardon. As that pitch is taken, I think, off the plate, 3-2. Fort Lee was expecting a punch out. And Freitas chops it to third. Dorcom on the charge, gets the big hop, throws. Not in time. It skips past the first baseman, Sango. And back to first base goes Freitas. Certainly a playable ball for Dorcom. Probably the aspect that I think will be talked about after the fact by Pete Kraljic and the coaching staff. Backing off that ball automatically put him into a difficult area. And then he had to rush the throw, so it'll be an E5. As the first pitch to John Ruftopoulos is high. If Dorcom charges the ball, he might have a chance to field it probably waist high. One and one to Ruftopoulos. Third error on Fort Lee. And a good curveball in there to get ahead on Ruftopoulos. 1-2. And the 1-2 fastball evens the count, 2-2. Today, the final day of April. Tomorrow, May 1st, Cliffside Park. They will play and restart their game that was not finished yesterday against Pascack Hills. Swing and a miss at the changeup. Ruftopoulos, badly fooled, goes down on strikes. Pair of strikeouts for Gabriel Garcia in the inning. He works around a 2-out error. Middle of the third, still 5-3, Cliffside Park. Home third inning And Fort Lee comes up trailing Cliffside Park 5-3, 4-5, and 6. And Jacob Greenberg from the right side against Nick Ortiz leads it off. Jacob walked and ended up scoring the go-ahead run in the first inning. After Fort Lee trailed 2-0 to the home first, they scored 3 times to take the lead into the second. And Ortiz gets him well out in front with what looked like to be a changeup there. Good pitch, though. Great movement from Ortiz. As he challenges with a fastball, and Jacob lays off. Jacob in at 375 on the year. Stolen 2 bases. 18 RBI leads the team with 4 extra base hits. Ortiz has struck out 4 and walked 3. And on 2-2, and Greenberg lays off the curveball. It'll be Jacob Greenberg, followed by Nico Sango and Jack Dorcom. Cliffside Park yesterday, they got 12 pitches in their game before rain came and then the lightning warning. And they ended up being washed out. And there were areas in the tri-state area that did have maybe just one little burst of rain. It was strange. 3-2 misses high and in, and Jacob Greenberg, with a quality at-bat, works out the walk. So the 4th free pass issued by Nick Ortiz, and the leadoff runner on for Fort Lee. So Nico Sango will bat, and the possibility of a bunt could be in play, albeit it is your cleanup batter. And we'll see if Jacob Greenberg has a green light to steal. And first pitch swinging, Nico crushes the ball to pretty deep left field. Freddie Flan going back, and he drops the ball. Now the runner has to scamper back. They throw to second for a force, not in time. Flan had the ball. He had about 80% of a catch completed. Now our umpires will gather here because that was a force play on Jacob Greenberg. It was not a tag play. And that's Mike Scarzafava coming out. I think could he also be arguing that Fland maybe caught the ball and then lost the ball on the transfer? I got a pretty good look at it. Fland is to my right in left field. And down and below me, Fland even made a step or two with the ball and kind of holding the ball, kind of being above the ball. So it'll be an E7. Jacob Greenberg to second. Jack Dorcom will bat. Fland still made a very good throw upon the recovery after the drop. And Jacob Greenberg nearly completely hung out to dry. Jacob Greenberg was changeup swung on and missed here by Dorcom. Jacob Greenberg was probably he was only about maybe a third of the way back to first base when he realized and picked up his first base coach and everybody screaming that the ball was actually dropped. After he was virtually on its second base when the ball kind of came down to Fland. One and one to Jack Dorcom. Jack gave Fort Lee the lead in the first inning with a well-hit single to left field that made it 3-2 Bridgman. Two balls and a strike. Nobody out in the third, with Fort Lee looking to retie the game. And a called strike, Dorcom taking all the way, 2-2. Nick Ortiz deals, and the pitch is lined foul the other way by Dorcom. Fort Lee hitters have not been fooled today. And that 2-2 is off the plate, and the count runs full for the second time of the inning. Gabe Garcia is on deck. And this ball lined sharply out over second. That's a base hit for Jack Dorcom. Rounding third and coming into score is Jacob Greenberg. The throw will go to third base offline. Another RBI single for Jack Dorcom. Fort Lee gets another run back. It's now 5-4 Cliffside Park. Nico Sango able to go first to third on the play, and Dorcom has driven in 3. So he is now just one behind Jacob Greenberg for the RBI lead on the team with 17. And Gabe Garcia now with a chance to tie the game with a productive out. Dorcom on at first. We'll keep an eye on him if he'll go here. And Garcia squares early. Here comes the bunt. The throw will not be made. Stolen base here for Jack Dorcom. So Sango at third, and what was a safety squeeze did not venture too far away off of third. And the breaking ball, that's a strike in there. Good pitch from Ortiz. So the Bridgemen get out of a forced situation. Second and third, nobody out, trailing 5-4 in the third. And a good hack from Gabe Garcia, 0-2. A walk started this inning And then Nico Sango crushed a ball to deep left that could have been caught, albeit a very well-hit ball that is a home run in a lot of other ballparks. Swing and a miss at the curveball. Gabe Garcia down on strikes. Fifth strikeout for Ortiz, and there's one away for C.J. Senator. The ball hit by Nico Sango in a ballpark that is designed for high school baseball is certainly a home run, as is the ball that was hit by Marco Rinaldi. As the first pitch to Senator is high. And in multi-purpose ballparks, there are some coaches, because they can kind of play with the fences a little bit. And there are some coaches that, at times, the way the fences curve in areas, they'll bring them in a little shorter. As Ortiz bounces one that's blocked by Marine. Senator struck out swinging in the first. Second and third with one down. 5-4 Cliffside Park. And Ortiz falls behind 3-0. Infield in all the way around for Cliffside Park. And that's ball 4. Fifth walk by Ortiz. And Stephen Kim will come up. Kim grounded out to third last inning. So Fort Lee a chance to retake the lead. As Ortiz misses high. Two and 0. So now the Bridgemen likely will take at least a strike. They've been greatly aided by 2 walks and an error in the field. And Ortiz had to come up with a strike. And I'm not positive if the umpire signaled a strike there or not. We'll call it ball 3, 3-0. So that is going to be ball 3. So the earlier pitch was a strike. So it is 3-1 to Stephen Kim. Bases loaded for Fort Lee. And Nick Ortiz to the plate. Right down the middle. That's 3-2. Well, Kim not happy. And that is strike 3. So I don't know where strike 1 was, but that is 2 outs in the inning. So our home plate umpire has not exactly had a definitive strike call. So there's 2 outs, and here's Max Greenberg. And a good stop behind the plate by Brady Marine. And you can see why Marine will start or the co-starting catcher for the Cliffside Park program. And he as well, only a sophomore. Max has doubled and grounded out to short. And Ortiz gets the strike there, 1-1. So a big moment in this game, the leadoff batter for Fort Lee. And a very good contact hitter and a very fast runner. 5-4 Cliffside Park. And the curveball away, 2-1. So Max likely looking at a fastball here. Nico Sango is at third. Jack Dorcom at second, and C.J. Senator at first. And the 2-1, and he went with a little kind of sharp slider low, 3-1. And a good take from Max Greenberg. Max on Saturday against Wallington, 4 for 5, 4 runs scored on the stolen base. 3-year varsity junior. And that's outside ball 4, and Ortiz walks in a run. So Max Greenberg is able to wait him out. Sango trots in to score, and Fort Lee has tied up the game at 5. 6th walk for Nick Ortiz, and Marcus Lee will bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs. As Lee takes high, he walked last inning. So Ortiz has slowed things down for himself to try to find his release point. Now there he gets a good pitch, 1-1. Fort Lee came out and were able to sting the baseball against him. 2 walks and 2 well-hit balls in the first inning. Were able to produce a run, and then Jack Dorcom with a sharp single. Two and one from Ortiz. Three balls and a strike. So Ortiz also fell behind Max Greenberg 3-1. And did not force Max to swing the bat. Let's see if Ortiz will challenge Marcus Lee here. And he does, and the fastball is fouled off the backstop. So now the count has gone full. Fort Lee has tied the game up here in the third. And a swing and a miss at the fastball. Lee could not catch up. 7 strikeouts for Nick Ortiz. But Fort Lee sends 8 to the plate. And they score twice to tie up the game. 2 runs on 1 hit and unearned run scoring. We are through 3 innings complete. Here in Fort Lee, it's now 5-5, Fort Lee and Cliffside Park. Here we go to the top of the fourth inning. New game in Fort Lee. 5-all. Bridgman and the Red Raiders. And the first pitch to Marcus Garcia hits him. Thrown by Gabe Garcia, and the leadoff batter is instantly on in the fourth. So that one came in too tight, and Garcia. Now our umpires are gathering, the base umpire, the first base umpire, and they agree that it was a hit by pitch to put Garcia on. And now I think Pete Kraljic on the field for Fort Lee. He was out, I think, I don't know. I'm not sure who he was out to talk to. But now a meeting here at home plate, I think, about the hit by pitch. And I think he's saying that Garcia really kind of moved into the way of that. So the top of the order for Cliffside Park and Caden Moeller. And Moeller with terrific speed. Definitely a threat to lay down a bunt. And a toss over on Garcia. As Garcia slides in for a pitcher that is hurt, that is able to swing the bat, sliding could be an issue for him. Moeller not bunting. And he takes the fastball high. Caden Moeller has singled to left through the left side and reached on a fielder's choice, a high chopper hit to third baseman Jack Dorcom. The throw came to home plate. As this is a ground ball to short, might be two. Lee goes to second for one. Kim on to first, not in time. Moeller runs very well. And the 6'4" force gets the lead runner one away. Here comes Freddie Fland. Fland, a sac bunt, laid down nicely in the first, and struck out swinging in the second. Another toss over. So Moeller now in a situation where you might not want to bunt Fland because of Moeller's ability to steal second base outright in high school. He's stolen 14 this year. Don't have the stats on if he has been caught or how many times he has been caught this year. Garcia to the plate. There goes Moeller. Ground ball to short. Lee backs up on it. He'll pick it up and throw wide of first base. Moeller's going to take third on the play. Well, Marcus Lee did still have a force out in front of him to second to short play. So I have no idea why Lee decided to go to first, especially with Fland running. Ball was hit hard, but it was hit right at a fielder. And if he just tosses to Kim on at second, it is an extremely likely force out. Instead, Moeller, because of that speed threat, probably affected Lee's judgment there. So Moeller at third, Fland at first, one down for Marco Rinaldi. And he takes the first pitch and skies it to shallow center. Might be playable for a sac fly. Here comes Lee making the catch. Here comes the throw, way off target. Moeller scores. And now Cliffside Park leads again, 6-5. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Marco Rinaldi. Not a routine play at all for Marcus Lee. On the back pedal in shallow center field, he made the catch but was nowhere in great throwing territory or position. Fland holds it first now for Nick Ortiz. And he grounds one down the third baseline past Dorcom. A fair ball into the left field corner in foul territory. Going first to third is Fland. And Nick Ortiz is able to come up with a single, his second hit of the game. And it's first and third with two down. And they'll bring up Derek Sanchez. As he takes a called strike. Sanchez has set the sacrifice fly in the air for an RBI to center and struck out looking. As he fouls off a changeup, 0-2. And on that ball hit by Rinaldi, that's where I think Pete Graljic after the game will discuss situations. That's where C.J. Senator, who's still very young, as just a freshman, might want to take over there because all of his momentum is going towards home. 0-2 outside, but that one gets away briefly from Luke Senator, and advancing to second base is Nick Ortiz. So Ortiz was going with the pitch, and that's another stolen base today for Cliffside Park. 1-2 to Derek Sanchez. 2-2. Derek Sanchez is a great story of high school perseverance. Last year for freshman, as he played a bunch, 20 at-bats, had just 2 hits. This year he came back as a different player. 13 hits, 13 of 41 this year, 317. And he's hit in the middle of the order and even near the top of the order this year. Played travel baseball. He went to work big time. 2-2 ground ball up the middle. Diving stop by Lee. Gets up, throws. In time for the out. Well, Fort Lee, after some tough defense during the inning, Marcus Lee is able to redeem himself by come up with the game's best defensive play. But Cliffside Park takes the lead on a sacrifice fly, and they score the go-ahead run here. 1 run on 1 hit and 2 left on base. We head to the bottom of the 4th, 6-5 Cliffside Park. Bottom of the 4th inning, new pitcher, second pitcher for Cliffside Park is senior right-hander Nico Rinaldi. As he deals to the top of the order here, and Max Greenberg. As he misses high there. 3-0. We'll check on who is now at first base for Rinaldi. As Rinaldi comes up with a strike, looks like just a straight-up change with Nick Ortiz taking Rinaldi's place at first. And a slider that misses outside, and Max Greenberg works out a leadoff walk. Or check that rather, I think that's actually Luke Senator, beg your pardon, who works out a walk. 3, 4, and 5 here in the fourth. And now Jacob Greenberg will bat. Jacob has walked twice against Ortiz. 6-5 Cliffside Park. Fort Lee batting in the home fourth. Outs have been tough to come by. Clean innings have been tough to come by today, like most high school baseball is. Pitch outside, throw down to first by Brady Marine, and safely in time is Luke Senator. Nick Ortiz threw a lot of pitches, striking out 7, but also walking 6. And there's a strike, good pitch from Rinaldi to even up Jacob Greenberg. Pitch inside, bluffing at first base is Senator, but it's 1-2. Senator has stolen 4 bases. Fort Lee has only stolen about half the bases that Cliffside Park has, 32 as a team. And a toss over to check. Luke back in time. Bridgman led by Max Greenberg with his 7 through 15 games. So Cliffside Park has almost doubled up the Bridgman in that category. Another toss over. And again, Luke Senator back in safely. Nobody out in the bottom of the fourth. Be a 2-2 to Jacob Greenberg. As he chases what could have been a high fastball, fouls it back. Jacob is a sophomore. Max is a junior. Yesterday, on Saturday against Wallington, 2 for 4, driving in 3. Last year, Jacob was brought to the varsity at the end of April. As this 2-2 sent the air to center field on the run, unable to get it. It's past the glove of Tabor and will go all the way to the fence. Luke Senator gets the wave. He will score. Jacob Greenberg on his way to third base. He'll slide in with a triple. And we are tied again, 6-6 in the fourth. Jacob Greenberg able to turn around a fastball and drive it a long way here at Allen W. Sugarman Field. And with these breakaway makeshift fences, that ball goes a long way on the fly, catchable for Tabar, but ultimately hit so well and fast, Tabar never really had a chance to get under it. Now Nico Sango with the infield in, run around at third, nobody out, as he takes a strike. And Sango pops it up, playable for the left fielder. Flan this time makes the catch. Tagging, there comes Flan's throw, well short. Not in time. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Nico Sango. And Fort Lee has the lead again. It's now 7-6 Bridgman in the fourth. That's twice where Sango has hit the ball very high to left field. Last inning, it ended up as an error. And here he gets a sac fly to score Jacob Greenberg. Jack Dorcom takes inside. 7-6 Fort Lee. And the 2-0. And Dorcom, I think, expecting something different, 2-1. And Rinaldi seeing if Jack would chase there. And a called strike. Dorcom sees himself getting full. Fort Lee also starting to get healthier. They were missing 6 players against Teaneck on Friday on the road. Lost it 11-1. As that 3-2 pitch called strike 3. Dorcom was fooled, and Rinaldi picks up the second out of the inning. Missing 6 starters on Friday. And the game before that at Dwight Morrow, April 24th, they won it 16-6. Also were missing a handful of starters, as Gabe Garcia will bat with 2 outs and nobody on. So for still a very young Fort Lee team, there's been a lot of guys similar to Cliffside Park, but just not to the same extent. Young guys that have been pressed into duty and playing a lot of varsity minutes. And the varsity season in New Jersey, boy, it's a ton of games in a short window. Rinaldi gets a call strike fastball, as framing it is Brady Marine, able to pull it back in 2-1. And a swing and a miss at the changeup. Nice pitch from Rinaldi, 2-2. Gabe Garcia struck out twice. Fort Lee has retaken the lead. Yeah, the 2-2 fastball. And again, the 2-2. And a called strike 3. Garcia struck out for the 3rd time. First one looking. Pair of strikeouts for Marco Rinaldi, but a leadoff walk and a triple, followed by a sac fly, gets Fort Lee back in the lead again. 2 runs on 1 hit, and nobody left on base. 4 innings complete in Fort Lee. The Bridgemen now lead Cliffside Park 7-6. Fifth inning in Fort Lee, 7-6 Bridgemen. Abraham Tabar leads it off. Gabriel Garcia trying to go 5 innings here. Now his team has given him the lead again, As he throws the first pitch strike, Tabar has grounded out to short into a force out and rolled over to second. And a strike two. And the fastball away. Cliffside Park head coach Mike Scarzafava. He's got a very, very busy schedule. 2-2. He's also the varsity boys soccer head coach of his alma mater and a varsity boys basketball assistant coach. Works as a special education and business teacher at Cliffside Park High School. 2-2, swung on, reaching for it and just getting a piece of it is Tabar. He graduated and played at Drew University out in Madison in business studies, 2015 graduating class, and was a backup outfielder for his 4 years there of baseball. His ground ball foul. Also was the color commentator on Drew men's and women's basketball on their live streams. Mike is a 2011 Cliffside Park graduate, playing baseball and soccer. But baseball was his primary sport. Senior year, he was honorable mention Big North American Division. Two-two to Tabar, grounded to short. Lee runs up, throws, and he gets Tabar by a good margin. Marcus Lee, with that ball hit well, but the turf helps, got to him quickly, and then showing a strong, accurate arm in that case, one away. Scarzafava's younger brother Adam also played for the Cliffside Park program, then went on to play at Division III Muhlenberg, where he was a pitcher. First pitch hits Victor Freitas, and the tying run is aboard for Cliffside Park. That'll bring up John Raftopoulos. Number 9 batter Marcus Garciga is on deck. And Garcia starts him off with a strike. Scarzafava, as a senior, just one of the great high school stories. As a check on first, while he was a baseball player in the state of New Jersey, and there are other states that allow it, but then others that don't. As this is a ground ball up the middle, Lee, sliding play, has to get up, throw, not in time. The problem was his second baseman, Stephen Kim, was also diving for it to try to maybe come up with it. If Kim maybe goes to second, Lee has a potential flip play, and instead it's an infield single. So Marcus Garciga will come up with the tying run at second. So it's an infield single to the shortstop for Raftopoulos. And with one down, Garciga has been hit by a pitch and struck out looking. Squares to bunt. And I think that was ball one. Flash play on Lee, and dashing behind the lead runner Raftopoulos, and no tag play applied. Garciga this time takes a strike. And I believe we have actually now a pinch runner, or do we? Nope, it's still Freitas over at second. Raftopoulos rather is at first. Garciga squaring to bunt. And I think he took high. 2-1. Squaring again, this time got the bunt down, fielded by the first baseman. They throw to first and get the out. Terrific play, Nico Sango, to pull off the very difficult 3-5 force out on a sac bunt, 2 away. Nico got a big bounce. And the sacrifice could not be executed. Ruff Topless takes second. Garcia goes aboard, and now Caden Moeller with 2 outs. And Garcia gets ahead. Terrific instincts there for Nico Sango. No hesitation. The hesitation typically costs you. He knew he had the out in his back pocket, but he went for the lead runner there. Two and one to Moeller. And a little change up there. Fools Moeller. 2 and 2. 7-6 Fort Lee. Cliffside Park batting here in the top of the 5th. And the 2-2 fastball gets Moeller swinging. Garcia fired up, so are the Bridgemen as they get out of the inning, still clinging to the 1-run lead. No runs a hit, 2 left on base for Cliffside Park. Middle of the 5th inning, still 7-6 Bridgemen. Home 5th inning, Fort Lee a chance to add to their 7-6 lead. As they look for their first 10-win season since 2015 today. They come in at 9-6, 4-2 in the Big North American Division. Cliffside Park 4-10-1, 2-4 in the league. And the first pitch, strike 1 to Christian Senator. As he takes this pitch and lines it to left, and Fland will have to play it on a hop towards the line. Senator with a big turn. He'll probe. He'll go back to first with a leadoff single to open things in the 5th inning. Fland on this big field, there's probably been a couple of balls that have been hit his way that he did not aggressively pursue. And certainly you have to kind of feel things out based on turf or grass and how big a park is. Because if you go for it here in this park, you turn a single, a blooper, into a home run. Here's a ground ball by Kim. Might be 2. Moeller to second for 1. On to first. Not in time. Throw by Derek Sanchez is beaten by Kim. And there's 1 away. Top of the order for Max Greenberg. Max has doubled, bounced out to short, and walked in a run for an RBI. This throw gets away from Ortiz. Getting up is Kim. Throw to second is in time, trying to advance. The throw by Nick Ortiz, the starting pitcher, gets Stephen Kim trying to advance. 2 away. So 3-6 on that put out. And 2 outs, nobody on for Max Greenberg. And Max takes a strike, 0-2. Marco Rinaldi in his second inning of work. Starting pitcher Nick Ortiz replaced him over at first. And a line drive over the head of Nick Ortiz into right field. A base hit for Max Greenberg. And Max is now 2 for 3. That'll bring up Marcus Lee. Certainly would be interesting should Fort Lee hang on in this game and how Pete Kraljic will handle things with his team, knowing that, look, if you win tomorrow at Westwood, there's a real chance you could be playing in the program's first ever Bergen County Championship in the tournament. This ball, first pitch popped up on the back pedal, and making the catch, Derek Sanchez. To get Marcus Lee in the inning comes to an end. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 left. 5 innings completed Fort Lee. It remains 7-6 Bridgemen on the Fort Lee YouTube channel. Fort Lee starter Gabriel Garcia trying to go at least 6 innings for the 3rd time this season. He's pitching to a 7-6 lead as Freddie Fland takes ball 1 low. And Fland drives his ball to deep center field. That's over the head of C.J. Senator, up against the fence. And Fland will scoot into second base with a leadoff double, and a tying run is already in place for Cliffside Park. Fland's first hit of the day, and he took it a long way. Again, another ballpark which could be specifically made for high school that could be a home run. So now the power of Marco Rinaldi. As he takes low, facing Garcia for the 4th time. He's put the ball up in the air all 3 previous at-bats. And the changeup fools Rinaldi, 1-1. Rinaldi has crushed a double to deep right, then crushed a single also to the same spot, but was forced to be held to a single, was played in by Jacob Greenberg. As he tries to go inside out, look out as he sends it out into the street, foul. Garcia's gotten ahead and is 1-2. Ground ball right at the shortstop Lee. Lee will go and get the lead runner, Fland, to throw to third in time for the out. Fland commits the cardinal sin. Ball was hit basically at him and maybe a little bit behind him. He decided to go. He was held up to dry, and the fielder's choice gets him, and a huge first down for Garcia. 1 away. Here's Nick Ortiz batting with Rinaldi on at first. And a call strike 1. And generally they tell you if the ball is hit a decent amount behind you, if you're the runner on at second base, it's probably going up the middle. As this ball is blooped out over short, and that'll fall for a base hit for Nick Ortiz. Rinaldi will stop at second. Derek Sanchez will come up. And the mistake also made by Fland is he did not take a peek back to see where the shortstop Lee was upon the release of that ball. If you know where the shortstop is, then you'll know the odds of him being able to make a play on it. But because it was hit right at Lee, and Fland did not know that, that's why he got hung up to dry. So in other words, if Fland knows that Lee is a little bit further to his right towards third, Lee would have an impossible time going to his left and then throwing to third to get him. But if Lee is already standing there and can charge it and throw, and Fland, despite his speed, is going to be cleanly out. Two on, 1 out for Derek Sanchez. 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly and an RBI in the first. And Garcia misses away. And 3-0 outside ball 4, and Sanchez will work out a walk. And now the bases are loaded for Cliffside Park in the 6th. Bridgmen have had warm-up action going in their bullpen down the left field line. Abraham Tabar will be the batter. Time is called, and here comes Pete Kraljic. And it looks like Pete is going to make a pitching change. Rather, actually, could be just a conference. Can't tell from here. And Garcia is going to remain in the game. So he gets a visit from the pitching coach. Tabar has grounded out 3 times. With 1 out, first pitch swinging, line drive, base hit to center field for Tabar. Now the ball is bobbled by Senator, and a second run will score as here comes Ortiz. Going first to third on the play is Derek Sanchez. Throw to second in time. No, hold on, and safe at second is Tabar. The tag was not applied. A two-run single for Abraham Tabar. That puts Cliffside Park in the lead again. Now 8-7 Red Raiders. Out to argue is Pete Kraljic about the tag at second. The throw clearly beat Tabar, but somehow the tag by Kim was either applied late or just completely missed. And also, it didn't help that the ball was not fielded cleanly by Senator in center. As time is called, and now we'll get the pitching change here from Fort Lee. So Gabriel Garcia is able to last 5 1/3 innings. He leaves on the short end of an 8-7 Cliffside Park lead in the 6th. New pitcher into the game is right-hander junior Paul Bonilla on for the Bridgemen. And he steps into a 2nd and 3rd, one-out situation as Fort Lee trails Cliffside Park 8-7. He'll face Victor Freitas of Cliffside Park. And the first pitch breaking ball, then Freitas fooled way out in front, 0-1. Numbers on Paul this season, 3.06 ERA, 16 innings. He has struck out 14 but walked 8. And that breaking ball away, 1-1. And Paul has said those bouts of wildness, he has also hit 6 batters, but just 10 hits allowed over that time. As this ball getting under it is Freitas. Should drive in a run. Coming in, Christian Senator coming in, and he can't get it. It drops in front of him, a base hit. 2 runs will score, and it's now 10-7 Cliffside Park. No, check that, 1 run scores. Going 2nd and 3rd is Tabar. It's now 9-7 Cliffside Park. Freitas hit it very high in the air with 1 out. Derek Sanchez holding on at 3rd to try to tag up. And Senator had to run a very long way for it. Both he and the right fielder Jacob Greenberg had both a lot of territory to track down in order to get it. And then the ball just evading Senator at the last moment. Now John Ruff-Topoulos to try to tack on. It takes a strike. 1st and 3rd. Still only 1 out. As he fouls this pitch back. Nine 9-7 Cliffside Park. And this is a ground ball, the hit and run, base hit through the vacated hole. Trotting in to score. The next run is Abraham Tabar. Freitas will take 2nd. John Ruff-Topoulos with an RBI base hit through the left side. It's 10-7 Cliffside Park. Just the kind of hit and run that you visualize as a coach. Now Marcus Garcia takes inside. Now he chases Paul Bonilla's fastball. Third time this season, Cliffside Park has hit double digits in a game. 2-1. As this ball is lined, well hit down into right center field. Base hit for Garcia. It'll get between the outfielders and head towards the fence. 2 runs will score. On his way to third base is Garcia. It's 12-7 Red Raiders. Ball was bobbled initially by Christian Senator, so that'll be scored as a double. But nevertheless, still driving in a pair. And the error allowing Garcia to take third base with 1 down for Caden Moeller. Sure looked like it could have been a strike. As Bonilla sees Moeller take ball 2. Cliffside Park has batted around in this 6th inning, knocking out the Bridgman starter in Gabriel Garcia. Infield in all the way around for the Bridgmen. And that's ball 3. And Moeller, who runs extremely well, anything not right at a fielder is going to be an infield hit. There's the strike 3-2. And that's ball 4. Ball skipped to the backstop, but no advance for Garcia. And Bonilla has walked 4 batters, given up 3 hits and a walk. As Cliffside Park has batted around, here is Freddie Fland, who started all of this with a deep drive double over the head of Christian Senator in center field. Toss to check on Moeller. And Moeller here with 1 out. And this is an obvious take second situation. And we'll see if Fort Lee will throw down. There goes Moeller. And Moeller had actually stopped. And the ball was sort of dropped by Senator on the breaking ball. So that won't be a stolen base. That'll be a wild pitch. And once you stop your feet, the stolen base is out of the way. So second and third, 1 down. 2-0 pitch to Freddie Fland coming. Inside strike called. And a ground ball left side, and that'll sneak through for a base hit. Garcia will score. RBI single for Freddie Fland, who's 2 for 2 in the 6th inning. And Cliffside Park pouring it on. It's now 13-7. And Rinaldi will bat. With Cliffside Park approaching a potential run rule situation. 10 or more runs, and then they could potentially end this game in the bottom of the 6th. Called strike. There goes Fland, and he steals second without a throw. And this ball golfed and crushed and eaten pretty deep right field. Going back, Kristen Senator, and that's off the bottom of the fence, going back towards the infield. 2 runs will score. Rinaldi on his way to third base, and he's in there sliding in with a 2-run triple. Marco Rinaldi has crushed the ball 3 times today. He drives in 2 more runs to make it 15-7 Cliffside Park. And that's another ball that, if this was a traditional high school field, is also out of here. Time called as Paul Bonilla will get a visit with Nick Ortiz, the scheduled batter. And Rinaldi is now 3 for 4, driving in 5 runs. And he is a home run shy of the cycle. And what's ironic is all 3 of his balls in a traditional high school park that doesn't have the breakaway fences, all 3 of them probably could have been home runs. At least 2 of them could have been homers. And Nick Ortiz sends this first pitch to center field. Playable. Christian Senator on the back pedal. He makes the catch. Tagging and trotting in to score is Marco Rinaldi. And it's now 16-7 Cliffside Park. So there's the second out. And the base is clean for Derek Sanchez. Cliffside Park has opened it up with a 9-run 6th inning. And this is now the second most runs they've scored in the game this season. They had defeated Dickinson April 13th, 20-4. And Dickinson nowhere near the level of Fort Lee. So this is as impressive of an offensive performance as Cliffside Park has had this season. And Paul Bonilla misses low in the 3-1, and he walks Derek Sanchez. So he walks for the second time of the inning, and Abraham Tabar will bat. And Tabar crushes this ball, and that's over the head of the left fielder, Jake Lee, and will go towards the fence. Ortiz rounding third. He will score. Tabar can really run. He's on his way to third base, and he'll get there with a stand-up triple. And it is now run rule position for Cliffside Park, 17-7 in the 6th. 3 RBI the inning for Tabar. Here's Victor Freitas, as Cliffside Park has not only batted around, they have batted around against the reliever Bonilla in the inning. Freitas, the 15th batter of this 6th inning, swings and misses the breaking ball, 1-2. As waiting on the breaking ball, Freitas fouls it straight up. And a line drive, that's big up the middle. That's a base hit. A sharp single on the 2-2 for Victor Freitas plates another run. Freitas 2 for 2 in the inning, 18-7 Cliffside Park. As in to score is Tabar. John Ruff topless for the second time. He had singled to the left side to make it 10-7 about 20 minutes ago. A nightmare inning for Fort Lee. As on the 0-2, Ruff topless just trying to get a hold of the breaking ball and fouls it off. And on one of the outs, as this ball is sent in the air, that's a base hit down the right field line into foul territory by Ruftopoulos. He goes to the opposite field, going first to third is Victor Freitas, and the inning continues. That ball hit the other way, just scooting past the first baseman Sango. And Marcus Garcia, a chance to tack on. Cliffside Park does have 1 run to spare. Fort Lee would need to get 2 to extend the game. In the bottom of the inning, Bonilla pitched last Wednesday at Dwight Morrow to mop up in a 16-6 win. He had walked 3 in that outing. Throwing a season-high 72 pitches. And he had entered into an 8-7 game. And a ground ball skips off the mound, handled by Kim. He throws off his back foot, not in time. Infield single for Garcia, plates another run, and it is now a 19-7 game. Hard single to the second baseman. That'll bring up Caden Moeller. First and third, still 2 down. And a ground ball that skips past Dorcom down the left field line, a fair ball. Another run comes in to score, and headed to second is Moeller. And that ball certainly ate up Dorcom. Certainly scored a hit, not an easy play made. Got under his glove, and in high school, that'll typically be a base hit. So it'll go as an RBI double. 20-7 is the score. Garcia will go first to third on the play. And here batting for the third time of the inning is Freddie Fland. He is the 19th man to bat. And Bonilla at this point just trying to take one for the team here, with Fort Lee playing tomorrow at Westwood, and even better offensive team, swing and a miss of the breaking ball. And inside, and it hits Fland. And now the bases will be loaded for the third time in the inning. Now, time will be called, and that'll be all for Paul Bonilla. So, Pete Gradulick will make the move, and he just needs an out to get out of here and head to the bottom of the inning. And what has been an inning to forget. New pitcher on for Fort Lee, and that is going to be Jeremiah Marrero coming in to throw here. As he warms up, we'll take time out here. 20-7, Cliffside Park. New pitcher to the game into this difficult situation is freshman right-hander Jeremiah Marrero. With 2 outs in the inning, deals outside to Marco Rinaldi, then the throw down by Luke Senator, not nearly in time. Rinaldi coming up, having driven in 5 runs today with the bases loaded against a freshman. As now tries to reach for that ball, might have swung at ball 2, 1-1. For Jeremiah Marrero, he's thrown just 36 pitches, an inning and 2/3 in his first year in the varsity. 1 strikeout, 2 hits, no earned runs. So he does not have an ERA. He's perfect. As that ball fades outside, Jeremiah is also a backup infielder this year as a freshman. And Fort Lee just needs to find an out somehow. 3-1. And that's low, ball 4. No, check that. Call that the low strike here, and I think the umpire giving Jeremiah a break. And that is ball 4. So Rinaldi, after tripling earlier this inning, to drive in 2 and reaching on a fielder's choice, he gets aboard and passes the baton to Nick Ortiz. The 21st batter of the inning, and Ortiz skies it on the infield. Marcus Lee under it and mercifully puts the inning away. But not before a total of 14 runs are scored on 10 hits, and the bases are left loaded for Cliffside Park. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning, 21-7, Cliffside Park. bottom of the 6th inning. And Fort Lee needing runs here just to extend this game, trailing 21-7. They need 5 runs to make the 7th inning possible. And Marco Rinaldi, first pitch outside to Luke Senator. Fort Lee went into the top of the 6th inning up 8-7. And they got a break after a leadoff double by Freddie Fland. Now, this is a line drive, base hit to right field for Senator to start off the inning. So Luke is now 2 for 3. And after a ground ball was hit right at the shortstop, right behind Freddie Fland, he was thrown out trying to go second to third, and he commits the cardinal sin, makes the first out at third base. So there was 1 out and a runner on at first innocently before the floodgates opened as Jacob Greenberg takes low. And then Cliffside Park proceeds to send 21 batters to the plate. They score 14 runs on 13 hits. Line shot, that's a base hit off of Rinaldi by Jacob Greenberg. Now the first 2 with solid line drives in the 6th for Fort Lee to get it started for Nico Sango. And credit Cliffside Park, in the inning, they would walk 3 times, make it 4 times, and be hit by a pitch. And basically everything they hit was stung. There were no cheap hits there. First pitch misses. Inside to Sango. And because Fort Lee is playing Westwood tomorrow, Pete Kraljic certainly backed into a corner because you're mapping out your available pitching. Line drive, knocked down by the second baseman, and there will be no play. Derek Sanchez at least got a glove on it. So the bases will be loaded with nobody out. Infield single for Sango. So Jack Dorcom will bat. And Dorcom sends it in the air to left field. Playable. Fland makes the catch. Tagging and coming in to score is Luke Senator. And that'll make it 21-8. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Jack Dorcom. But Cliffside Park at this point will trade runs for outs. No problem. 1 away. Gabe Garcia takes a strike. Gabe is 0 for 3. 3 strikeouts at the plate today. And Rinaldi misses outside. Marco Rinaldi trying to close out a victory for himself. He's the pitcher of record. While Gabe Garcia, the pitcher of record for Fort Lee. Called strike 2, 2-2. Fort Lee needs to get to 12 runs to make the 7th inning exist. And for Cliffside Park, it's a new season high 20 runs scored. And for Fort Lee, this is by far the most runs that they have given up in a game this year. This one fouled back by Gabe, 3-2. Most runs that they had allowed previously was 11 on Friday at Teaneck. So this has been atypical for the Bridgemen. Last year they gave up 21 in a loss to Hackensack. And for this group of Red Raiders, last year finishing 5-18-1. Most runs they had scored was 16, so it's the first 20 spot for probably the entire roster. 3-2 is outside ball 4, and Garcia picks up a walk. So that'll reload the bases. And Christian Senator will bat. And a called strike. Christian representing, believe it or not, the game-extending run at the plate. A swing at a foul ball, 0-2. Rinaldi in his third inning of work after the starter Nick Ortiz went the first 3. And Rinaldi high and tight there. And a ground ball, well hit, base hit past the third baseman there, Ruftopoulos. Everybody will move up one. Single and an RBI for Christian Senator. And he passes the baton along. It's 21-9. Walking in to score is Jacob Greenberg. Stephen Kim, the number 9 batter in the Fort Lee lineup. And Stephen takes a strike, 0 for 3. Hit the ball well last time, but into a 6-4 force out. And a ground ball hit right at the shortstop. Moeller goes to second for 1, on to first, not in time. 6-4 force out again for Stephen Kim. Drives in another, and it's 21-10. But now Fort Lee down to their final out. But the game extending run is on base now, and Kim at first. And Gabe Garcia at third. And here's Max Greenberg. Marco Rinaldi to try to close it out for Cliffside Park. And that breaking ball, hoping for a backside break, didn't get it. 1-1. Cliffside Park at Westwood tomorrow. Or rather, I should say, Fort Lee at Westwood tomorrow. Cliffside Park, I think they're at Pascack Hills in a makeup game that was moved. And there's a called strike there from the home plate umpire. 1-2 to Max. And that pitch misses outside. Stephen Kim, meanwhile, will take second base, basically indifference, to stay out of a force play. But now Fort Lee down to their final strike. And this 2-2, slow tapper, fielded by Rinaldi. He throws in time to get the out, Max Greenberg, and the ball game is over. Cliffside Park puts together a mammoth 14-run top of the 6th inning, and they're able to close out Fort Lee today in a 21-10 final score. Terrific defensive play made there by Rinaldi, who threw a strike to first to finally end the ball game. Cliffside Park picks up the win. They're now 5-10-1, 3-4 in the Big North American Division, while Fort Lee takes the loss, now 9-7, 4-3 in the Big North American. So they will look and wait another day to pick up their 10th win of the season to match their 2015 total and get to double digits. And a game that lasted 2 hours and 31 minutes is over in 6 innings due to run rule by a final score of 21-10. Marco Rinaldi picks up the win. Gabriel Garcia picks up the loss here today. Hitting star Marco Rinaldi driving in 5 runs today, as he would go 3 for 4 today in his very, very big day in the middle of the order for Cliffside Park. So the Red Raiders advance. Fort Lee had an opportunity with a win today to make tomorrow's game at Westwood be one where if they happen to pull off a big upset and pick up one of the best wins in for a program in a very, very long time, that might have put them into the Bergen County tournament. But certainly with this loss, it would certainly be very, very unlikely. 21-10 is our final for everybody here at Fort Lee Athletics. My name is Ralph Pinarchik saying so long and goodbye. And until next time, the final score again, Cliffside Park run rules Fort Lee in 6 innings today, 21-10.